Hello students. So as I told you I will upload a video after the chapter we discussed in the class, so that I will try to cover all the topics related to this chapter, and we will start first chapter of the civics textbook from your class 8th, and it is the Indian Constitution. So in this chapter we will try to cover all the topics, all the important points, all the important key factors of this chapter. The first one, that is the Constitution, the basic meaning of the term Constitution. So as the chapter starts with the football games, there is a different rules for different games like the football. So in the same way, there is a different rule in cricket, in hockey, or in badminton. Every game is different from each other only because of its rules. Like if we take the example of football, the football is a game that in which we have to play with, we have to kick the ball. In cricket, we have to play with the bat. In hockey, we have to play with the hockey stick. So each game is different from other because of its rules. So basically these are the rules that is making a game different from others. So in the same way, the Constitution is also a book of law. Constitution is also a book of law. It is also a written document which include all the rules and regulations for the country. And the country may be different because of its different constitution. Like the Constitution of India or any democratic country is different from a constitution of a monarchy. So we will discuss how it is different in the later part of this chapter with the example. So first is the basic meaning or the definition of the constitution is that a written document in which we find rules or laws is called a constitution. So next topic in this chapter that is important for the making of the Indian Constitution. So this is the history of the Indian Constitution. As we all know, before the independence we were ruled by the Britishers, and Britishers had their own rules and regulations, and we discussed most of their rules were arbitrary, and like the Sedition Act or Rowlatt Act. So what are the arbitrary rules we will discuss in the later part. So now after and as the national movement, as the freedom movement became stronger, so there is also a need to have a constitution for independent India increased. So because whenever we will get independence, so we must have our own constitution on which the country will be governed, because we were not happy, we were not familiar with the laws that the Britishers made. So this is the basic brief history of the making of the Indian Constitution. Like first one, in 1934, the idea of Constituent Assembly arose. Constituent Assembly means like when we were discussing we should have our own constitution. So it means there will be some people who will be writing the Constitution of India. So the some people, it means all the members who will be responsible for writing the Constitution, they will be called as Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly means all the members who were responsible for writing or drafting the Constitution of India. And this idea emerged first in 1934, and this was given by M.N. Roy. M.N. Roy in 1934, he gave the idea for Constituent Assembly to write the Indian Constitution. And in next year, 1935, in 1935 next year, INC means Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress demanded it officially. यानी कि Indian National Congress raised its demand, and in that demand, one of the demand was कि they should have there should be a Constituent Assembly for Indian Constitution. And Again, for next 1940, this demand was accepted by the Britishers after 5 years during the Second World War. So during the Second World War, in August offer means like a royal offer that was sent by the Queen of Britain. So in 1940, this demand was accepted by the Britishers. Okay, you can make your own constitution. And finally, in 1946, we constituted our Constituent Assembly under the Cabinet Mission Plan. That was in the year 1946. And from 1946, December 1946 till November 1949. So between this period, the Constituent Assembly drafted a constitution for independent India. So this is a period of around 3 years, and during this period, all the members of the Constituent Assembly, they met and wrote the Indian Constitution that will be applicable for independent India. So, and there are different members, around 296 members were there, who were responsible for writing the constitution, and they took the period of around 3 years for writing the Indian Constitution. And finally, in 1949, November 1949, the constitution completed, and it came into force from 26 January 1950, the first Republic Day. So 26 November 1940 it was completed, enacted, but it came into in force from 26 January 1950. So this is the brief introduction or brief history of the making of the Indian Constitution. Next topic that is important for this chapter, it is why does a country need a constitution? So need of the constitution, and in the class we discussed different needs. So here also we will try to explain all these needs in brief. And like first one, it is the ideals. So it lays out certain ideals that form the basis of the kind of country that we as citizens aspire to live in. Like whenever the constitution was being written by the members, so the main task for them was to make the laws that will be acceptable by all people. It means they should give equality to all. Once they will provide equality to all, so everyone will be agree with all the laws and regulations that will be included in the constitution. So that's so in this way the members from all over the country were included in the Constituent Assembly, so that they can also present their opinion to in writing the constitution. So the first feature of the constitution is it is the basis of the kind of country on which we as the citizen aspire to live in. So what should be the type of the country, what should be the rules, what should be the laws for the country. So all those laws we all are agree, irrespective of our caste, religion, culture, gender. So that's why constitution provided equality to all. So equality to all, when there is equality to all, so everyone will be satisfied, everyone will be agree on all the laws, on all the rules and regulations that are included in the constitution. And so this is the first need. Second need, the important purpose of the constitution is to define the nature of country's political system. Like the country's political system is also defined in the constitution. Up plus, like what is the political system of India? Like India is a parliamentary form of democracy, and there are members who are elected members, and the representatives who are elected by the people, and they form the government at the state level and at the central level. Like in class 6 you discussed there are 3 levels of the government, is the central level, state level and local, the panchayati raj that you discussed in class 6. So in class 6 you discussed about local level government, panchayati raj. In class 7th you discussed about state level government. In class 8th you will discuss about national level government or union government. So, the nature of the country's political system, it is also explained in the country's constitution of the country. And third one, it is the third significant reason, okay, why we need a constitution is to save us from ourselves. So sometimes there may be a confusion, or there may be most of the students are confused. What does it mean? How constitution save us from ourselves? Basically, to understand this, we have to understand the story as it is given in the textbook, like the story of Shabnam. Shabnam basically she was preparing for her exam that and but she also wanted to watch her favorite TV serial. Now she got confused whether she will study for tomorrow's exam or she will watch TV. And then she thought if she will watch TV, so there will be less time, there will be no time to prepare for tomorrow's exam, and in tomorrow's exam she may not be able to do better. So that's why she said if no one will watch the TV, so she will also not watch the TV. So finally this decision was taken, and she was able to prepare. And next day when during the exam, she was able to write all the questions, and she was very happy because the last two chapters that were remaining, and she prepared last night. The number of questions, around 2-3 questions were there from last two chapters, and she was able to do all the questions. So she was able to perform better in her exam because of her decision. So in the same way in democratic country, we also thought ki some decisions that government take, it took long time, and we should have a monarch. We should have a monarch, and this monarch may take decisions very quickly, and so there is no need to wait for long time to take decisions. But we forget but we are not aware about the drawback of this decision in long run, in long term. What will be the drawback? Like if we will think there should be a monarch, so monarch is independent. Monarch is independent. Like we can take the example of all the monarchies in the world, monarchy countries like the Saudi Arabia, like dictators or monarch. So basically they whatever they thought, they can implement that laws. And but constitution provide us various rights, fundamental rights, that are equally available to all. But in monarchy, the right may not be equal for all. So if we will think we should have a monarch, so in the long run, whatever the rights we are enjoying today, these rights may not be in future. So it will be loss. It will be a big loss for us. And during that time, or we will think the democracy was better. So in this way, constitution save us from ourselves. Okay, so these are the three important needs of the constitution. First one, it lays out ideals that form the basis of the kind of country that we as the citizen aspire to live in. Second, it defines the nature of the country's political system. Third, it saves us from ourselves. Okay, so in your book, the example of Nepal is also given. Like the constitution of Nepal before 1990, it is stated that Nepal is a monarchy. But the constitution after the 1990, it is stated that Nepal is a democratic country. So same country but two different constitutions make it two different political system. Like we can take the example of Nepal. Once the Nepal was a monarchy, so it was ruled by king and his own ministers. but people struggled a lot, and finally they got the independence from the king, and in 1990 they got the democracy. But again there is a disturbance, and finally in 2006 they got independence from all kind of monarchies or all kind of dictatorship, and finally they got the independence and it become a democratic country. So now next constitution, it is stated that now Nepal is a monarchy, now Nepal is a democratic country. So democratic country, people elect their own representatives, and these representatives will form the government on behalf of people. And if people think that they are not doing what they promised, so they can change, people can change the government in next elections. So election, there is a period, fixed period, like in India there is a period of 5 years. So every government gets the period of 5 years, and during this period they have to work for the people, and people are the main source of the government. If they will think now the government is doing better, so they can re-elect the government. If they think now government is not doing what they promised, so they can change the government in the next election. So all these are the important needs of the constitution. Next is the role of the constitution in any democratic country. So first we discussed the need of the constitution. Next is the role. What are the different roles that the constitution plays in any democratic country? Like first role की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो like in democracy we choose our leaders, as we discussed earlier also. We choose our leaders, and these leaders might exercise these leaders exercise power responsibly on our behalf. However, there is always the possibility that these leaders might misuse their authority, and the constitution usually provides safeguards against this. It means, now to understand this first role of the constitution, we can take the example as it is given in the book. Ki there is a class, the class teacher Mrs. Rao, who Mrs. Rao had to leave the class for some urgent work, and she told to class monitor Suresh, and was Suresh is not fond of is not familiar in the class, and many students are not fond of him. So but he was the monitor, so Mrs. Rao told him to mind the class, and then as Mrs. Rao leaves the class, he started pointing out to Anil. Anil said ki now Suresh said ki I will complain to class teacher about you कि you are disturbing the class. But Anil said I didn't do anything. So but as that class teacher came, so Suresh complained कि ma'am Anil was disturbing the class. But Anil said कि ma'am I was not doing anything. ठीक है, he is only blaming me. He was a bully. So now, but Mrs. Rao punished him and said कि you have to stay back after the class. So in this case, we can take the example कि Suresh, who is the class monitor, who had some power, but he used his power in wrong manner, in wrong way. ठीक है. So in the same way, all the elected representatives who are elected by people, they can also misuse their power they can also misuse their power in the country. And what are the different possibilities, what are the different ways in which they can misuse their power? Like we say in the beginning in the class we discussed that India is a diverse country. Lot of diversity is there, diversity of religion, language, culture, food habits, dresses, communities, states. So all these, so lot of diversity is there, and because of this diversity there may be a chance of inequality. Like someone maybe so some community may may dominate the other community. Some leaders may dominate the other. So these leaders, all the elected leaders, might use their power to benefit only one particular community, one particular group. This group may be based on language, religion, gender, maybe color of skin, maybe any social or economic background. So these leaders, elected representatives, they may use their power to use all the resources only for one particular community. They can also use their power to benefit only one particular community, one particular group. They can also make some kind of relaxations that are not available to other people. They may amend the constitution in wrong manner, so that can harm the basic structure of the country. So all these are the different examples how the elected members, can misuse their power. So in this way, we can conclude कि there is a possibility कि all the elected representatives might misuse their power, but constitution also provide a safeguard against this. Like, we have a fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom of religion. All these fundamental rights may be considered as the safeguard from any kind of discrimination we face by the member of the society, by the government, by any other local person, or any other in the country. So the constitution provides us equality, and again, because of this equality, we can go against to any person who is doing any kind of injustice, or doing any kind of inequality in the society. So constitution provides safeguard, and these safeguards are the fundamental rights. And like all persons are equal before the law, as we discussed, कि all persons are equal before the law. No one will be discriminated on the basis of their caste, religion, culture, gender. So if any government will make any law that is not applicable to one community, or that is giving advantage to only one community, to other communities, or the community that is being discriminated in that particular law, that community can approach to court and complain about the government. Or if any person in the community is doing this kind of discrimination, so other persons who are facing discrimination, they can go to court and complain against that particular person. So this is the first role that constitution plays. Second role क्या है कि it ensures a dominant group does not use its power against other less dominant people or group. So dominant group means the majority group, or less powerful or less dominant group means the minority group. As you know कि India is a diverse country, so diverse country, it means because of different religion, different language, different gender, so and different communities. So some are in a majority, and some are in a minority. So constitution also provides safeguard from the misuse of power by the dominant group over the less powerful group, less dominant group. Like to understand this, we can also take the example as it is given in the book. Ki there is a PT period in the class, and the boys said ki now we will play cricket, but girls wanted to play basketball. But the teacher decided कि now we will head count. So number of boys were more in the class, so obviously the boys win. So in this way, the girl said that the teacher should think about another way, because always boys win, and we are because they are in a majority. So we are in a minority, we never win because we are in a minority. So the teacher should think another way. So in the same way, majority group may use their power in wrong way, may dominate the less powerful people. How they can dominate the less powerful people? Like suppose there is a park in the society, and most of the people living around the park or in the society belong to one particular community, and the rest of the people belong to different communities or other communities. So if the majority group in the society will start will stop the people of other communities to enter into the park, so it is kind of domination. Okay, they are dominating over, they are discriminating or dominating over the less powerful, yeah, minority group. So in this case, those people who are in a minority, so they can again approach to court, approach to police station, police, and complain about the majority group. Okay, they are not giving us equal rights in the society. Park are the public place. Park, hospitals, hotels, schools, roads, okay, these are the public place, and all persons in the country are allowed to access all these public places irrespective of their caste, color of skin, language, gender. No one can stop. But if anyone doing this, so there is also a provision in the constitution, okay, and they can complain. Those who are facing this kind of discrimination, they can approach to court and complain about that in about those persons in the court. So these are the two important roles of constitution in any democratic country. Now next topic, that is the Indian constitution key features. Ab, so this is the very important topic of this chapter, and it includes first like federalism, second parliamentary form of government, third separation of power, fourth fundamental rights, and fifth one secularism. So these are the 5 important key features of Indian constitution. We will discuss all in detail in the next video. I will upload very soon, and whatever we discussed here, okay, so it is almost half chapter, and remaining half chapter I will cover in the next video, and all these key features. So thank you all, and so see you in the next video.